Agoma. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we will out the details. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now let's go into market reports, local and international business news for today. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says increasing crude oil production from the current 1.7 million barrels per day to 3 million barrels per day is achievable. The Chief Corporate Communications Officer of NNPCL, Olufemi Sonoye, who disclosed this during the stakeholders engagement session with journalists covering the National Assembly, attributed the potential for increased production to the political will demonstrated by President Bola Tinubu, who has issued directives to relevant security agencies to combat oil theft and pipeline vandalism. According to Sonoye, the efforts have contributed to a rise in daily production from 1.4 to 1.7 million barrels per day, adding that with a collaborative effort against oil theft and pipeline vandalism, an enabling environment could be created to support optimal oil production level of 2.5 to 3 million barrels per day. Sonoye also said oil production had plummeted to 900,000 barrels per day, highlighting the critical role of private security agencies and renewed military efforts in addressing the issue. During the session, Mutsalam Mohammed, the Deputy Manager at the NNPC Command and Control Center, presented a PowerPoint on the ongoing issue of crude oil theft and its economic impact on Nigeria, while over 8,000 illegal refineries and 585,800 illegal oil pipeline connections have been detected and destroyed in the last 6 months, with Bayelsa, Rivers, Imo and Abia identified as hotspots for this criminal activity. Technical Subcommittee on Domestic Sales of Crude Oil in Local Currency has confirmed that the supply of crude in Naira by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to the Dangote Petroleum Refinery will begin on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. On September 13, 2024, the committee said the Federal Executive Council, under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, approved the sale of crude to local refineries in Naira and the corresponding purchase of petroleum products in Naira. The chairman of the Technical Subcommittee, Zach Adedeji, who doubles as chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, was asked if the plan for the crude oil supply to the $20 billion Lekki-based plant is still intact. The special advisor on media to the FIRS chairman, Dare Adekambi, responded in the affirmative. This implies that NNPC is to supply about 11.5 million barrels of crude oil to the Dangote refinery monthly, and based on the deal, the plan to release equivalent volumes of refined diesel and petrol to the domestic market, also in Naira. The panel explained in September that the initiative will help reduce pressure on the naira, eliminates unnecessary transaction costs, and improve the availability of petroleum products across the country, adding that crude would be sold to Dangote in naira from October 1st. House of Representatives have commenced move to amend the Petroleum Industry Act to make provision for non-producing oil wells to lose their operational licenses. This is coming after on September 26, 2024, the House passed for the first reading a bill for an act to amend the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 to provide for licensing requirements for the operations of oil wells, petroleum prospecting licenses, and for revocation of licenses from non-performing oil fields and for related matters. The bill, sponsored by the member representing Idata North, Idata South Federal Constituency, Imo State, Ikenga Ogochinyere, made a return on the floor of the Green Chambers in the weeks ahead, and the proposed law seeks amendment for Section 81 through the insertion of new subsection 2 and 3. Since its enactment in 2021, there have been calls from stakeholders, including the host communities of Nigeria producing oil and gas, independent petroleum producers, and oil producers trade section, among others, for the amendment of the PIA. Dangote Group has concluded plans to transport refined petroleum products by sea. A statement by the senior advisor to the group president on special project and strategic relations, Fatima Wali Abdurraham, said the construction of a jetty in the Lekki Free Zone to handle bulk cargoes during the refinery's development. According to the group, the initiative aims to alleviate pressure on road networks while facilitating exports to other African countries. The statement also stated that the Dangote Group, a major sponsor of the trade fair organized by the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, attracted a large crowd eager to learn about its state-of-the-art oil refinery, which recently commenced discharging petroleum products. Wali Abdurrahman said participants were keen to discover opportunities within the company. Maritime stakeholders are urging the government to tackle piracy, illegal fishing, interstate disputes, and transnational crime to enjoy the $2.5 trillion ocean economy. Thus, said Nigeria must also address other challenges such as the smuggling of arms and narcotics, among other multifaceted threats to maritime security. They disclosed this in Lagos at the 2024 International Maritime Organization World Maritime Day. Speaking at the event, the guest speaker and the The sustainable exploitation of marine resources and described unsustainable maritime practices, including security and environmental degradation, posing significant threats to marine-based industries. Awosika, who laid out a vision where the blue economy exists encompassing fishing, resource extraction, marine transportation, ecosystem health, and tourism that can thrive through a foundation of maritime security, and expressed concern that investment in marine exploration and tourism could be undermined by such security threats affecting both national and global economies. Nigerian Port Authority says 33,471 vessels visited Nigeria ports between 2015 to 2022. The NPA, who disclosed this in the third edition of its handbook detailing the port statistical data between 2015 and 2022, said in the volume of vessels that visited the ports, it was observed that there was a drop in the number of vessels that called at the nation's ports in 2018, 2019, 2020 and 2022 when compared with other years, while in 2022 the record was the lowest number of vessels visits. MP also said within the same period under review, the country handled 351,682,903 tons of weight cargoes, while the data also showed a fluctuation in the port statistical data, as some years like 2016, 2017 and 2022 recorded a drop in the volume of general cargo handled at the ports when compared with what was handled in the other years. The document said in the last 8 years, the total gross registered tonnage stood at over 1 billion tons, and while reacting to the drop in cargoes, a former president of the National Association of Government-Approved Freight Forwarders, Dr. Eugene Weke, said Nigeria's economic downturn that happened between 2016 and 2017 led to a reduced import demand. He also said the currency inflation fluctuations and naira devaluation increased import costs, while high inflation also reduced purchasing power and consumption. World Bank has approved 3 new loan requests totaling $1.57 billion in financing for Nigeria. According to a statement, the approval is to support the federal government in strengthening human capital through better health for women, children and adolescents, adding that the approved projects would also help build resilience to the effects of climate change, such as floods and drought, through improving dam safety and irrigation. The international lender said the new financing includes $500 million for addressing governance issues that constrain the delivery of education and health, as well as $570 million for the primary health care provision strengthening program and $500 million for the sustainable power and irrigation for Nigeria project. The approval also highlights the World Bank's commitment to strengthening Nigeria's human capital and building resilience in the face of climate threats. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, has advised the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to be more responsive to the varying need of member countries in various regions of the world. He also demanded greater participation and representation by African countries in the governance and decision-making processes of global financial institutions, advocating solutions that address the unique financial challenges faced by African nations. The CBN boss spoke while participating in the high-level Bretton Woods at 80 forum, where he represented Africa's interests on the global financial stage, and the participation underscored his pivotal role as a representative of African interests, advocating for the continent's financial needs and priorities in the global economic space. The statement also said the event was organized to address issues such as investment, inclusive growth, climate resilience, and the evolving role of multilateral financial institutions in a rapidly changing world, adding that the international institution must evolve to tackle pressing issues like sustainable development, financial inclusion, and climate resilience. Cardoso stressed that institutions must stay responsive to the diverse needs of regions worldwide, while striving for more inclusive and sustainable global financial systems that cater to the economic priorities of both emerging and advanced economies. Central Bank of Nigeria disclosed that credit to the federal government increased by 11.33 trillion naira, or 57.11% to 31.15 trillion naira in August from 19.83 trillion naira in July. The latest money and credit statistics from the CBN revealed a trend of fluctuating borrowing by the 3 tiers of government from commercial lenders over the past months. In June, the credit figure stood at 23.93 trillion naira, up from 19.98 trillion naira in April, but lower than the 28.38 trillion naira reported in May, while the first quarter of the year also showed varying levels of borrowing, with credit reaching 23.52 trillion naira in January, peaking at 33.93 trillion naira in February, and then dropping to 19.59 trillion naira in March. The steady borrowing trend highlights the federal government's growing reliance on CBN facilities to fund capital projects, debt servicing, and other fiscal obligations. The combined total for government and private sector credits, along with money in circulation, amounted to 110.0 trillion naira in August, up from the previous month total, underscoring the ongoing fiscal and monetary dynamics in the Nigerian economy, with government borrowing dominating credit activities, crowding out the price. Federation Allocation Accounts Committee has deducted 622.75 million naira in 15 months to repay loans disbursed to farmers under the Anchor Borrowers Program. The Anchor Borrowers Program of the CBN was established in November 2015 to create economic linkages between smallholder farmers and anchors. According to the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee Revenue Disbursement Report, by the government deducted 45.52 million naira every month from May 2023 to July 2024, totaling 622.75 million naira in 15 months. And the repaid amount remains insignificant to the outstanding payment of 450.90 billion naira owed to the CBN as of March 2024. However, it did not specify the state of association to which the action was applied, but the Anchor Borrowers Program has been discontinued by the Apex Bank, which is currently trying to recover funds, while repayment by beneficiaries had been a difficult task, forcing the bank to take extra measures. President Bola Tinubu reportedly directed security agencies to assist the CBN in recovering Anchor Borrowers Program funds from borrowers, but the CBN has suspended new loan applications under its intervention program. Stakeholders in the housing sector have warned that the high interest rate in the country is hampering mortgage adoption and limiting access to affordable housing. According to them, the elevated interest rates are exerting pressure on the supply and demand sides of the housing market, resulting in increased costs for developers and reduced access to affordable mortgages for prospective home buyers. Chief Executive Officer of the famed Oysa & Co., Olufemi Oyedele, said interest rate hikes would make borrowing more expensive and slow down construction, adding that high inflation rates in Nigeria signals an oversupply of money in circulation, largely driven by fiscal mismanagement and widespread corruption from previous administration. The housing sector, which relies heavily on imported building materials, is already under severe pressure due to the soaring foreign exchange rates, adding that more people would likely resort to squatting or overcrowding the already insufficient housing units, as new housing development, housing starts will expected to plummet. Also, the Technical Secretary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Victoria Island Branch, Babatunde Adeboke, said the impact of rising interest rates on the built environment would be significant and could potentially lead to project delays or outright project cancellation, as well as job losses and other associated social impacts such as crime, increased mortgage interest rates that would reduce the affordability of housing for many citizens. Bank of Industry says Nigeria must enhance its production capacity to achieve a $1 trillion economy by 2026. The Divisional Head of Services BOI, Issa Omagu, who disclosed this at the 2024 Annual Conference of the Financial Correspondents Association of Nigeria in Lagos with the theme Nigeria's Journey Towards a $1 trillion Economy, impact of banks' recapitalization opportunities for fintechs and real sector, said the country's economic relied heavily on fiscal and monetary policies and called for urgent collaboration with both sides. He also said Nigeria's current production levels were insufficient, warning against over-reliance on imports if the country aims to achieve economic robustness, and called for investment in agriculture, infrastructure, and services, which would reduce import dependence and ease forex pressure. Also, the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, Bello Hassan, among other stakeholders, stressed the need for banks and fintech companies to collaborate and drive real sector growth. The article capitalization initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria that must be effectively implemented towards enhancing the resilience, solvency, and capacity of Nigerian banks to absorb shocks and continue to support the economic development of the nation by efficiently performing their function as a fulcrum of financial intermediation. Federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting micro, small and medium enterprises through tax incentives aimed at fostering growth and sustainability in the sector. Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Executive Chairman Zach Adedeji, who was represented by Special Advisor Collins Omokaro at the inaugural MSME Financial Awards convened by Economic Forum Series in partnership with Nairametrics and Digicom Enterprises, said the federal government should focus on creating an environment that will support MSMEs by providing tax relief and exemptions. He said the government's tax policies were designed to support MSMEs by reducing the complexity of tax compliance, encouraging greater participation in the formal economy, and ensuring that more businesses benefit from tax incentives, adding that FIRS was considering proposals to further raise the threshold to tax exemptions to bring more MSMEs into the fold. The MSME Financial Awards, which celebrated excellence in MSMEs financial, underscored the role MSMEs play in the Nigerian economy. The CEO of the Economic Forum Series, Jude Ndu, said the MSMEs are crucial drivers of the economy, and through strategic partnerships, citizens can bridge the gap by providing necessary financial support, mentorship, and capacity building. Coordinator of the Women in Surveying on the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Ajoke Akintola, has urged Nigerian women to actively engage in the built environment to accelerate national development. The appeal was made during the annual Women in Surveying seminar in Abuja recently, with the theme inspiring the career woman, positioning her for excellence, and while highlighting the importance of the women's empowerment in the surveying profession. Akintola said the contributions of Nigeria in the surveying profession and beyond have increasingly proven to be invaluable, and called for increased female participation to enhance productivity and improve gender balance within the industry, particularly the Federal Capital Territory. A senior lecturer at the Department of Geomatics, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Dr. Moses Mafe, who was the guest speaker, urged the federal government to provide more support for the surveying profession, stressing that the involvement of women in the surveying profession will impact technological advancements in Nigeria. He also said to implement the 70,000 naira new minimum wage for Federal government has disbursed over 29 billion naira in September for the enhancement of road networks and improvement of water resources to facilitate the Federal Ministry of Works. This is according to data sourced by GovSpend, a website for government expenditures powered by Budget IT and accountability firm in Nigeria. Among the key allocations, 5.88 billion naira was allocated to reinforce Global Resources Limited for the comprehensive rehabilitation of the Ugeb Oposi Road, which spans across Cross River and Ebonyi State. Information on GovSpend showed that the federal government was also investing in new federal secretariats with 1.90 billion naira disbursed to Medieval Construction Limited for the KB State Secretariat, 1.82 billion naira to Kandon Construction Limited for Abia State, and 1.82 billion naira to Strabic Construction Limited for Ebonyi State. Stakeholders in the construction industry have identified the poor adoption of modern technologies by professionals as one of the factors contributing to stifling the sector's growth. According to them, about 75% of the professionals in the industry are behind the technology adoption. Speaking at the 4th edition of Big Five Constructs Nigeria, hosted by DMG in Lagos recently, a project manager called on professionals to address the existing knowledge gap within the industry, while the executive secretary of the Association of Housing Corporation of Nigeria, Toye Eniola, said technology was revolutionizing the building sector. Of other claims that Nigeria was still adopting manual method, which was inhibiting the growth of the sector. The executive vice president of a huge opportunity for the construction industry. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has called for improved investment to address the challenge of flood in coastal areas of the state. He disclosed these at the Real Estate Discussion and Award 2024 organized by ThinkMates Nigeria and highlighted the industry's ongoing evolution in response to technological advancements, shifting market trends, and accelerating urbanization. He said the changes in Lagos ranges from technological advancement to shifting market dynamics, as well as increasing sustainability to fundamentally reshape the future for environmental sustainability in real estate developments. According to the governor, encouraging green building practices and investing in flood defenses, especially in coastal areas like Eco-Atlantic City, demonstrate that his administration recognizes the importance of green building practices and flood defenses as part of Lagos' long-term strategy to address environmental challenges and climate risk. In his opening remarks, the managing director of the Lagos State Development and Property Corporation, Joseph Ayodeji, spoke on the need for critical thinking and collaboration among real estate stakeholders in navigating the changes seen in the global real estate marketplace. National Emergency Management Agency said he has deployed a team to monitor rivers Benue and River Niger flowing the release of water from Lato Dam in Cameroon. NEMA spokesperson Manzo Ezekiel, who disclosed this, said the Director General of NEMA, Zubaida Omar, has already deployed staff to the states along the riverbank and are monitoring the situation across all the river system, including River Benue and River Niger. Ezekiel said some communities have already been affected by the water released from the Lato Dam, while the federal government predicted 5 days of heavy rainfall, which may lead to flooding in 15 states. The flood prediction obtained on Sunday from the National Flood Early Warning System Center of the Federal Ministry of Environment also urged stakeholders to take notes that the identified locations and other environments are likely to witness heavy rainfall that may lead to flood within the period of prediction from September 29th to October 3rd, 2024. The states and locations affected include Akwa Ibom State, Oron, Edo, Eket, Upenekang, Adamawa State, Numan, Aba, Kumo, Fakumo, Jamita, Warubuki, Bauchi State, Kapi Madaki, Bauchi, Bayelsa State, Sengana, Braz, KB State, Agungu, Gwandu, Kaduna State, Buruku, Katsina State, Bakori, Funtua, Jibia, and as well as Kwara State, Jeba, Nasarawa State, Rukubi, Plateau State, Shendam, and River State, Bernie, Nembe, and others. Director of the Center for Climate Change and Development, Alex Ekweme, Federal University Ebonyi State, Professor Chukwumereji Okereke, has urged world leaders to ensure that COP29 becomes a decisive moment for advancing global climate actions and increasing climate finances. Okereke warned that without a firm commitment to climate action, the world risks falling short of the critical 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature target set by the Paris Agreement, adding that there is a severe shortage of resources needed to confront the growing impact of climate change disasters. According to Okereke, inequality, conflicts, and development challenges exacerbate vulnerability to climate change, and also projected that developing countries would need an estimated 5.8 to 5.9 trillion naira to implement their nationally deterred contribution by 2030, while adaptation finance would reach $1.7 trillion annually by 2050. According to Okereke, inequality, conflict, and development challenges exacerbate vulnerability to climate change, while developing countries would need an estimated Osun Mastermind has played the Osun State government for allegedly prioritizing revenue over proper management of the environment around mining sites. The group also expressed disappointment that the Osun State government, which had accused a gold mining company operating in the state of several infractions, is also the entity prioritizing earnings over proper management of the environment. Addressing journalists over the weekend, the group's executive director, Professor Wasiu Oyedokun Ali, who lamented the environmental degradation ongoing in Ijesha land, charged the Osun State government to immediately do something about the menace. During a press briefing addressed by Lukman Jimoda, Special Advisor to Governor Ademola Adeleke on Mining and Natural Resources, and Wale Boronduru, Financial Consultant, Ministry of Mining and Natural Resources, adding that various unethical business practices, including alleged tax evasion, use of proxies, and failure to comply with environmental rules and regulations. Federal government says it has commenced the implementation of electricity subsidies for public hospitals nationwide. This is coming after Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun called for the removal of the subsidy on premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, which has saved Nigeria 5.4 trillion naira. The senior advisor of media and external relations to the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Tashi Kamal Halal, said subsidy on electricity for public hospitals had begun and the government plans to subsidize electricity for private hospitals nationwide. He also said in August the federal government approved a 50% subsidy for electricity consumed in public hospitals and tertiary institutions nationwide, while the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Tunji Alausa, said the federal government had approved a 50% electricity subsidy for public hospitals. According to Alausa, the gesture aims to reduce the running costs for public hospitals and alleviates the impact on patients. Suspected gas explosion has occurred at the residence of a Nigerian journalist, Abdul Karim Haruna, sending shockwaves through the neighborhood. Zagazol Basin counter-tourism and insurgency expert in a post on his X-handle said the explosion, believed to have been caused by a faulty gas cylinder, tore through the kitchen as family members were preparing for the naming ceremony of a newborn child. According to the report, 2 individuals present at the scene sustained serious injuries, while a newborn baby was caught in the blast and slipped into coma due to the trauma. Tourism industry is becoming a powerful engine for economic growth in Lagos, contributing 4.1 trillion naira to the state's gross domestic product. According to insight shared at the 2024 World Tourism Day celebration by the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, said the sector's growing influence, with projections suggesting that tourism will account for around 10% of the state's GDP in the coming years. Delivering to the economic expansion witnessed under Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration, which saw Lagos GDP rise from 27 trillion naira to 41,000 locals contribute to culture exchanges between visitors and locals contribute formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Nigerian equity market gained 121 billion naira last week, with the all-share index appreciating by 0.21% to close at 98,458.68 points, while market capitalization reached 56.578 trillion naira. A total turn with average year-to-date return of 39.8%, which recorded a gain of 0.21%. Return on a turnover of 45.9 billion naira last week closed weekend with average return of 31.68%, the second best performing return globally, while Turkey, which had led the global chart earlier, placed third with average return of 29.9% so far this year. The data included the most prominent stock markets and courts across the various tiers of advanced, emerging and frontier markets. This included United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, France, Hong Kong, Russia, India, Brazil, China, Thailand, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates. African markets included Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Morocco, Ghana, Egypt, and Mauritius. Meanwhile, United Kingdom's FTSE all-share index recorded over average return of 7.7%. 7.7%. France posted modest gain of 3.3%. China recorded average gain of 3.8%, while Thailand and Saudi Arabia recorded average gain of 2.4% and 3.4% respectively. Nigeria's apex capital market regulator, Securities and Exchange Commission, has strengthened its enforcement mechanism to decisively deal with entities engaging in illegal fund management activities in the Nigerian capital market. Director General, Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Agama, who disclosed this at the weekend in Abuja as the Commission prepares to hold the World Investor Week 2024 from October 7 to 14th with the theme Technology and Digital Finance, Crypto Assets and Sustainable Finance, said the Commission's enforcement mechanism will be fully deployed to fish out anyone that is perpetrating illegal activities within the investment climate in Nigeria. He assured that the Securities and Exchange Commission is prepared to protect investors and also educate them, which will translate into confidence in the market, while also superintending over public companies to ensure that good corporate governance is imbibed in the administration, adding that the aim of the World Investor Week is to provide information to investors as well as educate them on investing in the Nigerian capital market and the opportunities available therein in order to democratize wealth. Agama expressed the need for investors to be aware of priority investment, risky investment, the rewards of risky investment, and the investments that are less risky. He said the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, leveraged social media and other traditional media channels to reach out to the populace in a bid to further educate and enlighten them. You're watching ATM Business on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
From the lands across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. only on ATN.
Welcome back. You're still watching ATN Business and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has blocked a landmark artificial intelligence safety bill which had faced strong opposition from major technology companies. The proposed legislation would have imposed some of the first regulations on AI in the U.S., and the bill could stifle innovation and prompt AI developers to move out of the state. Senator Scott Wiener, who authored the bill, said the veto allows companies to continue developing an extremely powerful technology without any government oversight, and the bill would have required the most advanced AI models to undergo safety testing. The bill does not take into account whether an AI system is deployed in high-risk environments, involves critical decision-making, or the use of sensitive data. The state's role as a hub for many of the world's largest tech firms means that any bill regulating the sector would have a major national and global impact on the industry. Bitcoin and crypto stocks retreated on the final trading day of September following a rally last week, but are still poised to post a positive month. The flagship cryptocurrency has last lowered by 3.5% at $63,612.63 after briefly reclaiming the $65,000 level last week, according to CoinMetrics. Crypto stocks such as Coinbase fell 3% in permanent pre-market trading, and MicroStrategy slide 5%. Investors are bracing for strikes at ports up and down the East Coast and along the Gulf Coast after midnight Monday, which could shake the economy ahead of the holiday season. U.S. crude oil prices are on pace for a third monthly loss in a row in September as rising supplies from OPEC and weak demand in China haunts the market. The U.S. benchmark has declined more than 7% for the month, while global benchmark Brent is falling about 9%. Oil prices remain under pressure in part because OPEC plans to begin increasing production in December, as well as demand in China. The world's largest crude importer remains soft. Prices are finding little support from red-hot tension in the Middle East, even after Israel killed Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah in an airstrike in Beirut on Friday. The Netanyahu government is pommeling the Iran-backed militia group, with concerns growing that Israel might launch a ground operation in Lebanon. And this is where we wrap it up on this edition of ATN Business on Atlantic Television Network, right here in the city of Port Harcourt. I am Wendy Aguma. We are open for advert placement, bookings, and commercials. Stay connected on ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Up next is ATN Politics with Ray Ken. Thanks for watching and good afternoon.